Yo! Video games. What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And once again, thank you to all our generous patrons who kept us going for close to 350 episodes.
Yeah, if you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogamespodcast. Dude of the week is Aizawa.
Thank you, Aizawa.
Thank you. New dude, too. Welcome.
Yeah, that's always happy to see, new dudes and new people to help us keep this going.
Welcome to the family, son.
Oh, God.
That actually used to be the new dude thing, I think, back when Patreon first started. But in addition to new dude, we have a sponsor. And our sponsor is Manscaped.
Yeah.
It's sort of the perfect time to check out two of their products, two of their kind of most beloved products and most beloved by us. Of course, I'm talking about the Lawnmower 4.0 and the Boxers 2.0, which I still have a pristine package of. They sent us 3, and I kept one in the box just to hold up so I didn't have to hold up my worn panties.
Can I steal that a bit? Boxer briefs are great, especially when you have to spend a weekend in sunny Las Vegas.
That's right. Yeah, you took them to Evo?
I sure did.
You showed the Manscaped line across your right under your belly button there.
Well, either way, point is that, when you're in a hot environment and, you're not going to get a lot of breathing room for Mr. Johnson and the Juice Crew, you definitely want to have them taken care of.
Look, we keep saying that if you're going to go to an event like Evo, these are the perfect products: the Boxers, the Lawnmower 4.0, and of course the ball cream, which we love ever so much, the crop preserver. But the ball deodorant are really just they're gonna keep you feeling fresh. You're gonna be very happy. You're never gonna regret having fresh balls going to a con.
Yeah, I mean,
especially in Vegas, where the stripper was.
Yeah, well, there's no scenario where having fresh balls is a bad thing, right? Like, it's only a net positive.
Prison.
It's only a net positive.
But if you're interested in checking out the Lawnmower 4.0 or grabbing yourself a pair of the Boxers 2.0, which we can't recommend enough, please head over to manscaped.com. Use our code YoVG, all caps, for 20% off and free shipping worldwide. That's code YoVG, all caps, at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping worldwide. And tell us what you got. If you wanna shout it out, if you want to be like,
yeah, share
on Twitter,
share off your products. We don't necessarily need to see the landscape, but hey,
look, if
tell us what you think, about the actual products, as we love them, and it helps me,
if you're ballsy enough to send me your freshly shorn scrotum publicly on Twitter, yeah, I'll give you a thumbs up. I'll give you a rock on emoji. I don't want to see it, but I'm going to be encouraging to you. But that's manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you.
Yep. Oh, and speaking of smelling nice, or at least, smelling clean, went to Evo this last weekend where there was absolutely no Smash Brothers allowed.
What? Really? They didn't allow Smash Brothers at all? Is that real, or are you fucking?
Well, no, there was no Smash Brothers there. No side tournaments there either.
Because Nintendo's out. Nintendo's like, no way, no thank you.
Well, Sony owns Evo now. It's a Sony event.
Oh, that's right.
So I don't know if it wasn't allowed. Because here's the thing: there's 3 things. Either because it wasn't going to be a main stage game, they just didn't bother running a side tournament, or they didn't, or Sony was just like, no Smash Brothers, period, or something like that.
We don't promote their kind here.
Yeah, or something like that. And
right.
So I don't know if it was that, or just they didn't want, to be there, or because I know they have some deal with some other tournament organizer or whatever, but maybe Evo just was like, we have strict health following policies here, and we know you're not going to follow it, so no, don't come, no thanks. So,
Okay, so Sony owns Evo. Real quick, better, worse, better run, worse run.
I'd say okay. So positives, very strict mandates. You had to wear a wristband. You had to get checked in, so they had to check your vaccination status or negative status. Where they're like, if it's this kind of test, it has to be within 24 hours. If it's this kind of test, it has to be within. If it's a strict one, it can be 48 hours. So 48 or 24, depending on the test type. And they had on-site testing that you had to pay for, or you could just be smart and get fucking vaccinated. And they check and you have to check your vaccine card. And then they give you this wristband, right? And the wristband was had like a trap door on it or something, not a trap door, like a trap,
like a lock. You couldn't get it
a lock, pretty much. So once it only gets tighter. You can't take it off. You have to cut it out.
God's perfect. Sorry.
So you had to cut the wristband off if you wanted to get it off. So you had to have this wristband on at all times to go in the event, as well as the badge. And then they had a strict nose to chin mask mandate. So yeah, because the pandemic's not over, and don't tell the boomers in the casino that. But
I give up. I don't care. I'm vaccinated.
So it was pretty cool there. There definitely was the higher production value stuff where Sony brought their own booth, right? And their own booth set up and stuff. So that was actually kind of nice. And I know they the showrunner for Combo Breaker has also been brought in to sort of also kind of spearhead this whole thing. And you could see some changes where the Artist Alley was fucking ginormous. There was a free play arcade.
That's
not
cool,
not just a bring your own console table area, but a free play arcade that was there. There was an indie dev section. There was a big separation between dealers and Artist Alley. I did hear some rumblings that the actual tournament side of things was kind of the same shit it's always been, which was not great, maybe even worse.
Well, the tournament itself was still run by the same guys, right?
More or less.
Well, they're always 50-50 on whether they're going to drop the fucking ball or do a good job.
Yeah, so I'll say this: there's two things that are a little slightly disappointing. It's still not 24 hours. It's not run 24/7. It has daytime, showtime hours. It's 10 to 10 or something like that, or 8. I think it was 8 to 11, a.m. to 11 p.m., which is actually a lot. But
I mean, that's pretty fucking good. Why do you need a 24-hour? The fuck?
Because that's what you do at convention. That's conventions, baby.
Fuck that. It's a tournament.
No, it's not. It's
You're in
it's
Las
more
Vegas.
than ever wanting to be. And here's the other thing, and I have heard this, and I'm actually glad other people are speaking up about this. Where a lot of people are there's no Sunday. The hall or the event space that runs, all the Artist Alley, all the dealers hall, if they're all the booths. It's not open Sunday. It just closes shop completely because the only thing on Sunday is the main arena. And I talked to people on the on the show floor, and I've seen it since. People kind of don't like that. People actually kind of really wish that the Artist Alley and Dealers Hall was still open on Sunday. Now the whole point is to sell tickets to the main stage arena. They just want to force everyone in there to buy big tickets and fill that space up, and it's still not really filling up. But
it's an additional ticket cost on top of what you paid to be at Evo anyway. On top of
right. I mean, you can just buy the all-in-one bundle, right? A full day Evo, which is you get the badge for the 2 days of Friday, Saturday, and then the Sunday for the finals in the arena. But
how much is that now?
It's not that much. Even at the door, it was $30 a day.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's $30 a day, and they gave you a free water bottle, like a plastic carry home water bottle. You could put your name on there and stuff.
Stay hydrated
with me. I actually don't know where mine is actually.
You want to go back to your hotel room and have that thick yellow pee? You sick fuck.
The dehydration pee.
Dehydration pee. Or it has a smell.
So I don't know if people know this, but like you can actually tell if you're dehydrated if your pee is like thick and like almost turning brown.
Yeah, you're almost dead at that point.
Yeah,
If
so
your
like
pee's that color, you're sick. You
right,
need to
so like
down water
the
fast.
clearer your pee is, the less dehydrated you are. Just
Right.
as a little bonus science tip here, if you're worried about being dehydrated and when you the next pee you take, pay attention to the coloration.
Specifically in the mornings too.
Mhm.
If your first pee in the morning is a dark yellow, you are very dehydrated.
Drink some goddamn water. Oh, and they had water stations there, like these little, put your because they gave you a free water bottle, for every a free, permanent reusable water jug.
Hell yeah.
And they had water stations there where you could fill up and have filtered water anytime.
Yeah, the thing that
So
E3 turned off. You
yes,
remember they had those water bottle drinking fountains and they just turned them off and taped them off? Like, fucking what?
they want you to buy the $6, 12-ounce water bottle.
Got it. Or you do what I did the last C3 we went to, and you drink nothing but nitro cold brews all day, and then you feel sick and jittery all night long. What do you mean 5 nitro cold brews are bad? I don't have feelings. Fuck out of here.
So yeah, I'll say this. I agree with people where like I think the show floor should still be open on Sunday. But I think there's like this very big concern that like no, we're trying to sell tickets to the arena. We're trying to get all eyes in the arena. Blah blah blah. And the thing is that arena wasn't really that full this year, from what I could tell. I didn't go in. For obvious reasons.
How packed was Evo in general?
Not that packed. Here's the I am doom, but here's the doom splaining part where I think there was still a lot of apprehension about going to such an event because nothing was that fucking packed to do, right? The most packed thing was Capcom's booth. And they had lines for Street Fighter 6 to play that. But the thing is, Sony had a little booth too, which was much quicker to play a game around there. Sony's booth was controller only. Capcom had 2 lines, controller and arcade stick for Street Fighter 6. And from what I understand, it could get a little, you could be waiting a little bit, but like compared to like what E3's been, it was nothing, as far as that stuff goes. So I will say though, like walking around, it was not wall to wall people. The event space was large and there was plenty of just open air. So
I mean, I guess that's kind of nice because I don't really love crowds. Like I don't have a fear of crowds or anything like that, but like, I mean, I'd prefer not to be in giant crowds, which is hilarious, right? I used to live in the heart of Los Angeles.
Right, yeah.
Fucking hate crowds.
Understandable, very understandable. So yeah, like I would say that like it did not feel like a massively packed Evo. Las Vegas itself seemed to be kind of like licking its wound from COVID, where like there were still plenty of people there, but it wasn't like wall to wall. The only place I saw like a good chunk of people everywhere was the Venetian.
Yeah, well, the Venetian's fucking
on Saturday night. But
I'm
like
Venetian's best hotel.
Venetian's got free parking though. Like what's crazy, and here's the other thing too, where it's like I don't know the answer because I don't know the statistics, but part of me feels like I understand where Vegas is desperate to recover, but the whole because MGM feels like MGM owns more casinos now than they used to, more and more of the resorts. And their whole pay for parking thing, it really, it's funny because at Mandalay, it was real easy to get parking close to the door, because it was automatically pay to park at Mandalay Bay, 15 immediately, right? 15 immediate dollars for the first hour, and then like it goes up from there. Aria, Cosmopolitan, that giant city center thing they built, you get an hour of free parking there. So like it's like, but Venetian is free, still free, because Vegas used to be free parking everywhere.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Um,
there's a pretty solid argument that pay for parking is slowly choking the life out of Vegas.
yeah, and I think even Planet Hollywood had it, which I literally like, nope, turned right around as like I was coming up to the gate. Um, I forget which. I think Caesars. There was one of the, because there's like three major owners of each of all of the fucking resorts on the strip. Like it's only like three owners. It's like MGM, Venetian, and then I think Caesars is its own thing, or whoever owns that. One of them actually went back on pay to park, and whoever owns Paris,
Oh,
they
really?
had
Yeah.
pay to park, and then like right before like the pandemic hit, they actually announced they're getting rid of it, because like it wasn't working out for them for whatever reason. I'm like, no shit.
Well, Vegas, the least walkable city on the planet. Like
Yeah,
everybody,
just from heat.
yeah, and I mean, like, okay, yeah, you could walk the strip, I guess, if you're only going to go a block or two. But like, if you wanted to walk the whole strip, like, oh my god, it's awful. It's an awful experience, especially in the height of summer. I mean, if you're
Hmm.
really drunk, one, it's dangerous, but two, it's not that bad. You don't even feel it. But I remember when they were originally trying to build the monorail, like the monorail only goes a certain distance and to certain,
Yeah,
but they were originally trying to get everybody on board with building a monorail down the entire strip. And basically the infighting happened where they could never get anybody to agree to pay to have an entire monorail down the strip. But the big reason they wanted is they didn't want to encourage people from leaving hotel to go to another hotel.
yeah,
And it's like, why are you dumb? Like the more walkable a place is, the more money people spend.
right. And that's the thing. I heard suggested was like, oh well, you think they probably have this pay to park to keep people in that hotel, like so they don't leave. Like, oh, you're stuck here. Like they don't, like they discourage you from like leaving that hotel if you paid to park there and are stuck parking there. So I'm like, that sounds genius too. And I'm like, but man, all it does is for me is discourage me,
Yeah, just
because
it makes me not want to go.
I actually kind of liked Vegas the first few times I went, and I still do like. There's actually a lot of things I like about Vegas, but like it's real fucking discouraging for me to know that like there was a time, and I was there for, where I could just drive to any hotel. I could just go, just get my car, go out, and as long as you know like the back streets rather than going right down Las Vegas Boulevard, it was fine. It was just, oh, I'm just gonna go over here. I'm gonna go over here. Or go over here. And you didn't have to think about it. You didn't have to
Right?
worry
Yeah.
about it. Um, so yeah, this is not good. And I, we've already heard like this kind of like not necessarily video game related, but like apparently, people obviously our age or younger, they don't gamble. We're just not a gambling
Well, I
generation.
mean, with what fucking money?
Exactly, with what fucking money. But the thing is, the other thing too is that like at least where Evo is being held, there was the lowest table was $25 minimum. So fuck that.
Right? Yeah. I mean, again, the Venetian, great. And the time that I stayed there,
Yeah, and
I won a bunch of
and
money on
I
craps.
I
So
love that hotel. I couldn't recommend, it enough to just check out, because it's still themed. It's still actually themed, and it has, great restaurants,
yeah,
great
well, it has amazing restaurants, amazing atmosphere.
yeah.
Um, I mean, amazing dessert. Um,
Oh my god.
the
Man,
games.
if you follow my Twitter and you saw that fucking shake I ate, oh my lord.
Got diabetes looking at a picture. Um,
It's
no, I
so
mean
it's so good though.
if you can afford the rooms, that's the real downside is they're expensive. But if you can afford the rooms are probably the nicest I've ever stayed in.
Mm.
Um, granted, I think we've been inside a Mandalay room, and the Mandalay rooms are nice too. But like
Mandalay's are actually kind of like a step up, like especially their bathrooms in Mandalay.
every
Uh,
Venetian room that I know of, I think every room has this, has its own like living room.
mm.
And so you have like a living room, and your bed is up on a platform, and then you have this
Oh
giant.
yeah, I know exactly
Yeah,
what you're talking about, because LVH had that one year Evo was over there.
yeah.
Um,
I don't know. It's a great hotel. Not cheap, but great.
So yeah, I mean, Vegas is trying basically. It's like a wounded animal trying to lick its wounds and recover. But you could tell like a lot of things like just outside the strip kind of died or like really suffering hard. It's just
Well, that buffet we loved gone.
but yeah, the buffet we loved is just it's gone. Like
Yeah.
getting turned into a food court. I heard Mandalay buffet's gone. They just boarded it up.
That sucks. What about Luxor? Does Luxor's buffet still exist?
So Luxor and Excalibur, their buffets are still existing, but like they have very limited hours, and they have like they swap days off, or like two random days of the week. Not random. I think it's like one is like Monday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, and the other one is like Thursday, Friday. I think it's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday. One of between Excalibur and Luxor, one of them take that whole day off, and the other one like fills in for it. But it is early, like it is like I say, limited hours. They close at like 3 o'clock,
Wow.
something like that, like 3:30 or something.
Well, okay,
Rough,
so
man. It is rough. if and the thing is, I like for me, Vegas is great for the food, and it's great for the
people watching and the weird shit. Yeah.
the weird shit. Oh, the buffets were great, but gone. There's one buffet that might come back. Like they haven't completely sealed it off. It says temporarily closed. So I'm hoping maybe it can come back. But again, like man, I don't know. And kind of to bring that back to Evo again, people forgotten about this, but again, I'm a little worried about because of the attendance did not seem super fucking great, right?
Right.
And which on the one hand I like that. It wasn't impossible to get up and do something or see something or go somewhere. It was kind of really nice to have like plenty of space around you. But again, Sony were owning this worries me because
they'll kill it.
Yeah, they got real bored real quick of PlayStation experience as it was gaining popularity year after year. And once the champion for PSX left, PSX disappeared immediately. And I'm a little like concerned that again Sony just kind of like, we're done. And they'll be like, well, Sony's not really running it. These people are really the ones running. They're always going to make sure. I'm like, at the end of the day,
Sony owns it. Sony runs it.
Sony owns it.
That is scary.
If anything, they'll probably just sell it off, or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe I'm still a little concerned because that didn't look great. And again, like also, it kind of sucks because again, like coming back from this 2-year black hole, and it's like kind of sucks that like the arena definitely didn't look as full as it did before.
Right. Well,
which doesn't look great. But here's the thing: it only reinforces the point we made last podcast more because today they announced that Multiverse has 10 million active user accounts.
Jesus.
Which immediately makes it second or third selling quote unquote fighting game on the planet, like ever.
I mean, that's a pretty ringing endorsement of free to play, I guess.
And it's not out, and it's not even officially released yet. It's still an open beta.
But will it hold those numbers when it is officially released?
I think it really will depend on sort of like how quickly, you know what I mean? Like how quickly does it get more, does content come out for it, right?
And is there a world where Multiverses ends up at EVO next year?
Multiverses was there this year. They had a booth and a tournament.
They had a tournament for Multiverses this year?
They sure fucking did.
Fast, damn.
I got to meet the director and everything. Tony, and it was great. Fortunately, I didn't get to speak long because everyone wanted to like take a picture with the dude and like meet with him.
Yeah. So he's at the height of his success right now. He's killing it.
He is killing it, and but it's like I can't stress this enough, guys. Like when you see, when every time I look back and I see, and think about those big fucking League of Legends, Overwatch, what have you, big tournaments, around the world, it's like I kind of lament the fact that fighting games never got there yet, never got that huge. So
I think as the spectacle rises with them, though, they can. I think free to play, one of the things that we talked about last time was that, like, it opens the door to a much larger audience.
Yes.
So
That's the thing. Without having to do any monetary commitment to a game, it's amazing how many people. And someone was like, there was like a thread I was reading on the internet today where someone was like, I'm supportive of this idea. I just don't understand why people like Multiverse. Like I couldn't, like, why are so many people jumping into this? I didn't even, this person was not. They didn't really have a great experience with it, and I'm like, I think the point is not whether or not did people have great. I mean, obviously a lot of people are having good experiences with Multiverse because of retention, but I'm like. Here's the thing. Why did it grab so many people and be like, the IP? I'm like, it's because there was no commitment.
Yeah, it's just dumb fun and
okay, whatever. A Smash Brothers game with characters everyone knows. Like, I don't know how many people are really excited. Like, I've heard nobody jazzed about the roster for Multiverses as it stands. I've heard people jazzed about the potential. Like, oh, maybe they'll add this character or that character or whatever. No, nobody sat there and like creamed their pants over Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny being in the game, or even the Adventure Time or Steven Universe. Like, no, you didn't. Nobody was jizzing themselves over this roster, but it didn't cost anything. It didn't take any effort. It didn't even take that. Like the footprint of hard drive space is tiny. It's like 4 gigs or something, 3 or 4 gigs. Damn. It's like there's no harsh commitment to playing this game. It's just so easy to just grab it and play it and have some fun. And that's so vitally important, I think, and it will be going forward for the future. But I think speaking of the future of fighting games, I think we should talk about all the announcements, shit. And a lot of them were kind of like, I would say, more obviously geared very much towards the fandom already. It's not like Nintendo announced a brand new Smash Brothers 6 or whatever the fuck, right? Or PlayStation like had this big PlayStation All-Star 2 reveal.
It was like this year was the year that like all the fighting game companies were all like, look, we finally listened to you guys, and
yes,
we finally listened to the community. We should talk about the very first thing that I want to talk about is all the people who came in their pants when they saw photorealistic Kazia.
Okay, yeah, which it was very much one of those like, okay. They're like, well, there was no official announcement for what it is, but it's fucking Tekken 8, right? Like,
right, yeah.
It's Tekken 8.
Within seconds of that being announced, there was cell phone videos on Twitter. Like, I knew about it as it was happening, and I wasn't even at EVO. Like, It was just like, and then Harada, I think, posted something officially very shortly after that, where it, like, shifts into photorealistic Kazia, and you're like, oh, fuck. Sorry, I'm being attacked by a fly that made it into the room somehow. But I do think that that's one of the like best things about EVO is it's probably the only place where you can get that level of hype for a fighting game announcement. You know, like at E3, a fighting game announcement's cool, and you'll see some people jazzed. If you're in the if you're in the Bandai Namco booth and they're talking about it and stuff, everybody there is generally jazzed. But at EVO, especially the last time we were there when it was just like full and packed, I guess it was Geese.
Geese, oh my god, the Geese announcement.
People losing their mind, like an arena of people losing their minds, and I don't even play fighting games, and like it's hard not to be just absolutely fuck ass amped. Like you're just so amped. And like again, up until that point, like I knew who Geese was, but like there's no reason why I would have been amped. But when everybody's getting amped and people are like stomping and yelling and shit. Like, I stomped and yelled. I'm going to get amped with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to match your energy. You're fucking psyched. I'm going to be psyched.
Yeah, and to be fair, even though the definitely was like a smaller footprint in the arena, like they were still fucking jazzed.
Yeah, I saw a cell phone video of everyone screaming. It sounded like a million people screaming.
They were still super jazzed when the cool stuff was announced. So, that was on Grand Final Day. They actually had some announcements prior to Sunday,
right?
And a big one, like for me, significant, and for a lot of people, was the announcement that Dragon Ball Z is getting a PS5, Xbox, series upgrade, and it's going to have a rollback netcode.
I was gonna say, is the
And
upgrade the big thing, or is it rollback finally?
no, the rollback's the big thing, and I
Yeah.
can't. I'm not even. I'm not even 100% sure if it's like it's only going to be in the PS5, Xbox Series versions.
Oof.
For I don't think so. I think it's just there's going to be an upgrade. There's going to be a big update coming, and that'll include a free upgrade because like they basically said if you have the PS4 or Xbox One, you can freely upgrade
Right.
to the new ones, and it's going to have rollback. This was huge, and this was very significantly huge because it is the first time a Bandai Namco game is going to have rollback netcode. Now, there is a caveat because it's Arc System Works, and Arc System Works fully embraced rollback with Guilty Gear Strive, which did really well for it. In fact, it was the final game of EVO, and it had the highest number of entrants, even beating Street Fighter V.
Really?
So this it is significant that they're going to add rollback to Dragon Ball Fighters. And Dragon Ball Fighters, I mean, I don't play the game. I own the game, but I don't play the game. I didn't play it much beyond the initial month or whatever, and it had that bullshit Arc System lobby system where it's fucking like answer 3 riddles to go to find a match and play online.
I remember that being one of the biggest complaints about it was the lobby system.
But and then the netcode the netcode wasn't good. The netcode just wasn't good. Like people were resorting to Parsec.
Really?
To play people on the PC version of Dragon Ball Fighters because it was just so bad. And this was a godsend because the thing is like Dragon Ball Fighters is one of the last newer fighting game to have what I call retention, where people are still outside of the big 3, which is Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat. Like Dragon Ball Fighters is probably one of the last fighting games outside of that can still get retention. Hold an audience, and because it's Dragon Ball, and people love Dragon Ball. And
I was gonna say, is it because it's Dragon Ball?
It's because it's Dragon Ball. It's because it's a 3v3 fighter, and because it has crazy high combos and whatnot. Its presentation, its roster, and its style. People love the MVC2 style of 3v3, right?
Right.
So all that combined, but it was always this sort of thing where people sort of gave up, or everyone always lamented not give up, but lamented the fact that fuck, the netcode sucked. As every fighting game since that game came out has come out with rollback netcode, and it just kind of feels like this fucking sucks. Why couldn't this game have been part of that? And now it is. So
I haven't played Dragon Ball Fighters since actually the E3 that they announced it at when we all played in the Bandai booth. But can you play as Nappa? Is Nappa in the game?
Yeah, I think Nappa's in the game. God, I'm so bad at this. No,
Good.
Wait a minute.
So I'm in the game.
You.
For anybody that doesn't know, we were going to do a Dragon Ball Fighters Assist Me episode where I was going to play Nappa.
Yeah, Nappa's in the game. Yeah, well, I'm not fucking crazy. I remember this. Yeah.
I was going to play sweet ass.
I don't know
Nappa.
why. I had this weird panic where I'm like, wait, was Nappa ever put? Yes, he was put in the game.
Now, obviously, if it was going to be a good guy, I'd be TN. But Nappa's beefier, and I can rock his facial hair. So, your boy would have been a really great Nappa. I would have been an over the top, stupid Nappa, but technically that fits.
So, but yeah, but they did also say the game's content complete. They did make that announcement as well. They're like, we're not adding any more characters to this game.
Well, how big is the roster now?
I don't. It's sizable. They're still missing. There's still some fan favorite characters.
Well, you got both the androids. You got. Well, I mean, Broly's in it, right?
44. It's up to 44 now.
It's up to 44 characters now. Wow.
Yeah. Emilio. That was our buddy. Speaking of Dragon Ball, who do you know? Who amongst us do we know is probably one of the old school as biggest Dragon Ball fans? And he just texted me.
Hey.
No,
I hope he's doing good.
Oh, yeah, he's doing good. I think he's doing fine.
So you can
He
play.
jumps into my chat sometimes. It's actually nice.
Can
I
you?
don't know hope he listens. If you listen to the podcast, thank you. No, he.
Love you. Yeah, okay, so 44 characters isn't bad, but obviously there's like a zillion other characters in that series. Is it only Dragon Ball Z characters, or is it
No,
okay.
there's some in GT. There's Super. There's GT. I don't really know. I don't think anyone's like OG. I mean, because who in OG Dragon Ball didn't come back for Z, right? Um,
Wait,
so
wait, in Dragon Ball Fighters can you play as Mr. Satan?
no,
Fuck.
I don't think Mr. Satan ever made it in, and that was
I'm gonna Google it.
definitely that was one of the characters everyone was kind of bummed about that never made it in was Mr. Satan never made it in.
Because they're afraid. They're cowards. They didn't want to bring it to
Powers.
America.
Yeah, no Hercule. Yeah, like I think the most like goofiest fighter they added was Roshi, Master Roshi.
Oh yeah, I guess he's
But
not.
yeah, no Mr. Satan. That was definitely one. That is one I have personally heard over and over.
Master Roshi.
It's not Master Roshi, it was Mr. Satan. Like, but Mr. Satan, put Mr. Satan, and
Goddamn right you want Mr. Satan. All right.
his daughter's in, Vidal's in.
He's the only person that can save us from Cell. Love Mr. Satan.
Well, at least Vidal's in. You get some of the family there, but I wanted Topo. I think he's from Super. But he didn't get in. But for me, it was always about Beerus. I wanted Beerus. Beerus is why I bought the game, honestly. But then Beerus is like he's fine, but he's just not that good. Like other characters can do what Beerus does better, so there's no reason to play Beerus. So stop playing Beerus. Stop playing games. Stop playing Beerus.
I can't even picture Beerus. See that cat-looking dude?
Yeah, it's the cat, like the Egyptian cat-looking guy.
Yeah.
Beerus. People. It's funny because people have asked me because I'm not, I don't really watch Dragon Ball Follow too hard, but it's like, why do you like Beerus? I'm like, because Beerus is like he brings comedy back. Because if you remember, Dragon Ball was almost a 50-50 comedy action manga and anime, and Dragon Ball Z leaned heavier into the action part of it.
Yeah, I mean, there was still comedy in Z.
There's still comedy in Z. There's whole comedic episodes, but I like Beerus because he's almost parody, where he's the god of destruction, but he's almost all his shit revolves around dumb humor situations. So I like the fact that he's sort of like an embracement and a parody of the ridiculousness of Dragon Ball as a whole, and he's just this goofy cat character who likes to eat shit and he just, not eat shit, but like he likes to eat delicacies and take naps, kind of thing.
I think I stopped watching regularly after the Majin Buu arc.
Well, that's I think the end more or less of Z. And then they had GT, which nobody liked. And then they have Super, which is sort of retconning GT anyway. So,
fair.
But yeah, it's getting rollback. And you know the thing is, it's not the only game that's getting rollback. Samurai Showdown from 2019 is getting rollback. I don't know anyone who plays that game anymore, but
well, it must still have a decent following.
I'm not going to complain. It's one of those things where it's like I don't want to complain. About like a free gift here. So it's like that's awesome because the game was actually pretty fun, pretty cool. But like the online kind of sucked. So
well, I think my favorite thing about Sam Show was that it had an amazing art style.
Yes, it did.
Like it looked cool as hell. It's always looked cool as hell, but this one looked cool as hell.
It did, and it had a lot of characters from DLC over time get added to it, and it's like it's not coming out till next year, but like, and they're bringing in this company called Code Mystics. They've added a lot of rollback to a lot of old school fighting games, like on Steam and stuff. So they're going in and they're adding rollback to Samurai Showdown to 2019. I wish they would have called it Sam Show 7. I'm still upset that Andrew never got put into Sam Show 7. Like his rival Yashiro is in the game, but not Andrew.
Wow.
If you don't know who I'm referring to,
I don't.
I'm referring to Samurai Showdown 6 and the character of Andrew, as in young Andrew Jackson.
Get the fuck out of here. Okay.
And his stage is in front of the White House being rebuilt after being burned down in the War of 1812.
I'm Googling it. Now. I gotta see it. Oh my fucking god. Anime
upset.
Andrew Jackson.
Yes, young Andrew Jackson.
And he fights with
never
a fucking musket.
fucking musket with a bayonet on top.
And he wears these little shorts. The fuck is this?
I'm upset that he's never got added to Samurai Showdown.
Okay, but you can't do old Hickory like this. He's got to look more. Well, I mean, honestly, he's got to look more like a Mr. Satan. That's how old Hickory.
It's not old Andrew. It's young Andrew Jackson, although they still give him white hair for some reason.
Young Andrew Jackson also still looks like an old man. He just doesn't have white hair.
Yeah, but whatever. It's
Andrew Jackson got shot in the ribs and never removed the ball. He had fucking lead poisoning for most of his life. He never looked like a young man.
But you gotta admit, I mean, it's a fucking fantasy game, with
No, I know.
and goofballs and shit. So they brought in that stupid fucking that dumb titty made bird lady. But they didn't bring in Andrew Jackson. If that's upset, yeah, fuck Iroha, I think is her name. Like,
you know what the real problem with the anime
dumbest
fighters
goddamn character ever made
is? The anime fighters, they seem like they spike and fall out of favor so fast.
Yeah, they
like
do.
How long was Sam Show played for? Like where it was like the new hotness for? I guess it's part of that month club.
Yeah, and again, it came out in 2019, summer 2019, and then 6 months later, pandemic hit. So, and the thing is the pandemic really, if it did one thing for fighting games, really showed the importance of good online, right? Really showed how important online was. And I think it was a really good wake-up call for a lot of the Japanese developers too, where it's like, okay, yeah, your internet's great in Japan, but the internet is not great in the rest of the world, is what we've been trying to tell you for fucking decades. And the fighting games that had good internet did really well.
Right.
So yeah, they really showed like the appeal of Sam Show. For Sam Show to have it. I don't know if it's going to do anything for the game's presence. Like, is it gonna reignite some love for the game or whatnot? I don't know. I doubt it. Who knows? But it's awesome.
Maybe the player base is already big enough for still sustainable.
You know what? At the end of the day, it's just awesome that it's happening, right?
Yeah, I'm not mad at it.
And jumping along with Sam Show is SNK announced that next year they're going to have crossplay implemented in King of Fighters 15, and boy howdy is that fucking important.
Because their audience is too small now, or
and it's just important in general, because if you really think about it, like having closed off ecosystems for each and every one of the
systems
is like not great. Really not great, like, because it makes people like congregate towards one or the other, and it's like, like Dragon Ball Fighters. I don't know if it was announced it was getting crossplay. I don't think it is, but like it's on Game Pass, right? And I think it's maybe even on the Sony one, but it is on the Microsoft Game Pass. But it's like, imagine any of these fighters get added to Game Pass, and it's like that now it's a free download, and if it's crossplay, that means anyone on PC or PlayStation can just find them and link up to you, and you can actually you can have this giant roster to pull from, to find them. It's so, and for ranked matchmaking, how could crossplay be anything but like vitally important? A lot of smaller fighters and indie fighters figured this out a long time ago. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid had crossplay, and probably a big reason for its success. There were but we'll say this: both Samurai Showdown and King of Fighters 15, their rollback, and Dragon Ball as well. The Switch is not getting any of these features.
Well, yeah.
But I don't know. I can't imagine the footprint for online players for Switch fighters probably isn't that high, anyways. Nobody plays Switch online. Everyone knows the online on Switch is garbage.
I sort of wonder. Crossplay can't be that hard to put into effect, really. I mean,
but it's probably difficult if you've already made the game, you've already designed the game, and then it's like now you gotta change it around. Well, I don't know though, because I've seen games like just sort of add it. I don't think it's turning on a light switch, but I don't think it's like it's not It's not something that's like, oh, it requires the budget of a whole game to do, you know, right?
But consoles are basically just PCs
Yeah.
in a special case now.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it is just sort of like, well, how do you invite people? How do you, how do you get their usernames to show up? It's mostly infrastructure bullshit,
like
interface bullshit like that.
Fair, yeah,
from
I
what
guess
I understand. Like Aliens Fireteam just added crossplay, by the way. Not fighting game related, but it's an awesome game. And we recently kind of went back to it, and we're just kind of playing it. And they do a password system.
Mm-hmm.
So, because the one thing a lot of places did, like what Fall Guys did for crossplay, was they just made you make an Epic account, link to your Epic Store account, and that's fucking
fucking hate that.
Fucking hate that, right? So that's really like, okay, well, Epic's your Epic account is, we have Epic on every system, right? Fortnite's on everything, and if you link to your Epic account, we can basically override any other PlayStation networks, Xbox, whatever, blah blah blah. But Aliens doesn't do that. Aliens just is I'm hosting, right? It'll create like a password, and you can just, however you want to contact a particular friend, you can just tell them enter this password, and you can get in my lobby.
Yeah.
If I can't invite you otherwise.
Have they done any updates to Fireteam?
Yeah.
Like
yeah, we recently went back, and because they added some new modes and then some new classes.
Oh, cool.
There's a campaign update at the end of the month. That one's paid though, I think. But all the updates, there's been free updates, and then there's been like cosmetic DLC, like, oh, if you want to look like this character or that character, or costume designs from these movies have been added for monetary things or whatever. So there's been some cosmetic things you can buy, and there's been a bunch of free updates as well for new classes and new game modes. Like there's a couple new defense modes. There's one where like you're holding off like this like bridge, not kind of a bridge, but just, it's an area full of turrets, and you have to like constantly like hold off waves of enemies and refill these auto turrets to help you. And then there's one where you're on a planet that's like destable, and you have like these stabilizer machines, and you have to like constantly like keep them repaired, and the aliens are trying to like destroy them. But if like too much time passes, the planet will crumble, kind of thing, or the earthquakes will get too unstable, kind of stuff. So
I have to check that out.
It's fun stuff. It's on Game Pass, by the way.
Yeah,
it is on Game Pass. It was like on sale on Steam for like $12. It's like,
I think I own it on Steam though already. I owned it on Steam before I got Game Pass.
It's amazing how it's a small new developer, and it just works. It looks good, and it works. It's just this. We didn't try to like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird how this small team with focus made a better fucking game than Gearbox did.
Oof.
So weird. All the money and hype surrounding their project, and like at the end of the day, just some fucking upstart. It's just like, no, let's just focus. Let's hunker down and focus on making a goddamn co-op Aliens game.
Well, there's all that speculation that the Gearbox game was more about fraud than anything. So.
Yeah, that they were taking the money and pouring it into Borderlands development. We'll never know the truth on that.
Yep. Allegedly.
It just allegedly. Sure look like it.
Any other big announcements at Evo?
I want to talk about my favorite announcement, because we were on SNK, and hey, Sam Show rollback, King of Fighters getting
sexy, like it,
getting sexy, getting crossplay. Getting Kim, Kapawan, and Shingo in DLC 2, or the next wave of DLC. Season 2, I guess. Whatever. Gauro, Mark of the Wolves is getting a part 2. Now, this to me was the big one. This was huge for people. It's such a niche thing, but it's cool to see the arena going nuts for this, right? They only showed concept art. There's no game. They just said it was just greenlit, right? So it's kind of like just entering development. Gauro, if for uninitiated, was one of the last big SNK original hardware SNK games. It was fucking gorgeous. The animation was really, really good for 2D sprite based, right?
I recognize the art style, but like I have no recollection of this game.
So this is the game where the character Rock Howard came from. Uh, this
Ah,
is the game where Terry got his costume change, where he had the bomber jacket, the brown bomber jacket, and he didn't have a
yep.
hat anymore. He just had the long hair, parted hair. That's where
That's
that
yeah,
look
okay.
for Terry came from because it was supposed to be like it was supposed to be a big time skip game, right? It's literally SNK's Third Strike. It's compared to that in a lot of ways. And the unfortunate thing was, like, it came out that they were going to do a sequel or a follow up right after it, Gauro 2. But unfortunately, that was when SNK went bankrupt, and then they got bought, merged by someone else, by Playmore. So it was basically like that got canceled. So there was always, and some of the sprite work has been leaked out over time on the internet, and it's always been like this bummer. Like, fuck, I really wish we could have seen Gauro 2 because Gauro 1 was so pretty and it played really well, and people liked it. I liked it. The nice thing about Gauro is that it's a very simple fighter where it's like there's no tag mechanics, there's no jumping to the background, foreground, there's no wackiness. It's a very, very straight to the point fighter. And then they had this cool thing where you can choose where on your life gauge that your attacks, your supers do the most damage, right? So like some fighting games just automatically have like Tekken 7 has rage arts where it's like when you get close to the end, you have this one opportunity to do more damage with your super. Before you're dead, right? Gauro lets you choose when on the life bar you're going to be at your most damaging. For supers only, right?
Right.
So you could choose in like the first third, the middle third, or the last third of your life. That was pretty cool because then it's like, okay, I want to go ham at the beginning, or I'm gonna like save it for a desperation move, or I'm gonna save it for the middle of the match. That's pretty fun. That's like one of the cool things about it. But just a really cool fighter. It just looked really cool. The backgrounds were just so cool.
I am just remembering looking at these characters that Grant is in it, which if you ever went to those like $10 Tuesdays at that arcade where we grew up,
Yeah.
like I remember there being this character, and I'm refreshing my memories from the Fatal Fury series. That like people would call Budget Akuma. But he's this fucking like Phantom of the. It's like Akuma wearing a demon mask with a Phantom of the Opera cape. Like he's fucking.
Yes. Yes.
And his name's just Grant.
Grant.
Like, he's just fucking Grant, but he's really cool looking.
Yes, correct. Yeah, he's exactly right. He's like the boss character, or like I don't know. Gauro is just such a fucking. It's just such a stylish, cool game. And it's awesome to see coming back. The only thing is that it's likely to just be another 3D 2D fighter. It's probably just gonna look like King of Fighters 15. I really wish it could come back as a sprite based fighter.
I mean, you're never gonna get that shit back.
Probably not. That's the only thing that's gonna suck about this is like whether or not like how artistically stylish is this gonna look. Probably not. Sam Show did look pretty cool though, so it's not like they can't like mix it up a little bit. And I kind of hope they do. I hope they do go for a weird like sketch style or something. They do something to the game. I was reminded recently about the one of the artists who worked on Streets of Rage 4. If if you played Streets of Rage 4,
Yeah,
he did a mock concept art of what he would. I just showed it to you, like what he would do. How would I make a Gauro 2? This was like a couple years ago or something now.
Oh yeah, this is great looking.
Yeah, like it's like, hey, he would do that, and I'm like, man, I wish you would like do that if you don't want to do sprite based work. Like, go and do what the Streets of Rage 2 dev, artist was like, hey, this is what I imagine I would do with the game. Do that. So to me, that is actually the most exciting game announcement was Gauro 2, because it's like, okay, it was this cool Fatal Fury fighting game that was not okay. It's not King of Fighters. It's not like the main game because like we got Tekken 8, which we got the tease for Tekken 8. That's exciting, yes. But Gauro 2 is like cool. Something a little different, a little like off or not off brand, but just not King of Fighters 16. You know, I don't know. That's to me that's very exciting, and I'm hopeful that it can artistically like be exciting and live up to that too. Probably real quick though, we should probably rush through the other announcements. Street Fighter 6 had Kimberly shown off and Jury shown off. They went for the thirst for their announcements at Evo. People are very happy because they hyper focused on Jury being a sassy bitch and her foot showing prominently in the trailer, and y'all fucking weirdos.
Y'all fucking strangers. I showed off that Gauro artwork, by the way, in the podcast video.
Okay. Like the official one they showed, or the
one that you showed me. The
one with that. So like that's what I hope it would. That's what I hope they go with. The official artwork is just like a rock on a street alleyway or something. But,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Kimberly was shown off. Unfortunately, both Kimberly and Jury are part of that big leak of Street Fighter 6. So we knew the characters were coming, but we didn't really know what Kimberly was. So Kimberly's like this weird mix of Guy from Street Fighter Alpha. She's like trained by Guy or something, but she can like throw exploding spray paint cans, which is kind of cool because it's like she throws these little projectiles on the ground and then they explode into like big inky splots. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, she plays like Guy. So
I wish they pronounced it the French way, Guy.
Guy. So that's pretty cool. Jury's back and whatever. Jury, people love Jury. Yada yada.
Hey, Guy.
I feel like I'm probably pissed off enough of our audience with my apathy towards that character, but whatever. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool that they're there. It's cool that we got to see them. I played a little bit of Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, how was that?
And it's cool. I actually like people like say like, yeah, it feels a little like underwatery sluggish at first. I'm like, it's just because they really emphasize wind up hits a lot in Street Fighter 6. It plays different from 5. It doesn't play like Street Fighter 4 or 5, and it feels different, and I like that. I personally like it, and it looks fantastic. It looks way better, too. Like, it's a nice, big graphical upgrade for Street Fighter. I actually really enjoy it. It felt different.
Did you get to play the open world aspect?
No, that was not there.
It's just purely 5. Okay.
No, that was not there.
Still but I think curious about that.
I really like the style and presentation, because, like, you're in, like, a fucking, like, Fight Club like warehouse, like when you're choosing your character, and then like once you pick them, like it just like this whole big like hype up, like yeah, and the characters start like walking out like towards the arena, like the gate opens up, and it's like this big like WWE or like underground wrestling ring kind of setup where like the characters meet up, like they walk to meet each other, before the fight. Like that's how they load in. I don't know. I like the presentation. I think it's really fucking cool. And then Guilty Gear got season 2 was officially announced. Everyone thought it was coming. Surprised everyone. Bridget was announced as the first playable character. She was the most requested character in she was number 1 in Japanese polls, and I think she was really high in the American one too as well. She was at least top 10 in both. And it was like a shadow drop, so it was like, hey, Bridget's going to be the first character in season 2. Well, I mean, like, I'm like, there's. It was weird because Bridget was highly requested for Exard, never got in Exard. So when Strive was coming out, I was like, okay, I predicted Bridget was going to be like first or second DLC character in Strive. She didn't show up in season 1 at all. Season 2 finally, so it's like it was only a matter of if, not when.
I have a
when. I'm sorry, I had that backwards. When, not if.
I have a stupid question, but is Guilty Gear based on a show or a manga or anything? No, so it's its own.
It's all from Daisuke Ishiwatari's head.
People fucking just love the characters that much from the games. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like, okay, so Daisuke, the director, he wrote all the lore, he drew the concept art, he plays the music because he's a metalhead, and he designs the fighting system.
Jesus, that's insane.
So it is big passion project for the guy. So it has been since the mid late '90s. So yeah, Bridget's in the game. She's cool. Officially, she's a trans woman now from the storyline, which is pretty cool because before it was always like, oh, there was this character who was she was born a boy as a twin, but the village she grew up in had this superstitious curse of two of the same of twins being born with the same gender. So they made they basically raised her as a girl. Blah blah blah. But like they went through the whole story mode and they made it like in a big official thing where like
oh right, okay. So that's what the big deal was. I saw on Twitter that like people were losing their shit at that, but I guess I just didn't know enough about the series. I just thought that was known.
So in Guilty Gear X2, when Bridget was announced, it was like, oh, Bridget's actually a boy. She's just wearing this weird nun outfit because of this village superstition where her twin brother was born with her. Like there was a superstition that it'll bring a curse to the village if twins of the same gender are born. So they raised Bridget to be a girl and just pretended or whatever. So that was kind of the backstory then, and then so in this game in the arcade mode, Bridget talks to Gold Lewis Dixon, which fuck I love that name. Who's
that's my stage name.
Gold Lewis Dixon.
Yeah,
he's I don't know if you've seen him. He's the he's very much based on John Goodman. And he's a government. He's like one of the highest ranking government officials. He carries around a coffin of an alien from Area 51 and attacks you with it.
What the fuck?
It's so wacky and cool. I love it.
This should be a show, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, so him and Kai Kiske at the end of Bridget's arcade run, like Bridget basically have like the two best dads have a nice conversation with Bridget, and then Bridget basically decides you know what, I'm gonna be true to myself. I am a girl. So it's like it's not just Arc System retconning the backstory. It's Arc System kind of facing it and just going like, no, this is her. This is how she is. This is what she is accepting this and wants this. And so,
cool.
That's very cool. Which is pretty cool because the last character that came out was Testament, who officially became non-binary, and Daisuke even addressed it apparently and said like Testament had basically moved beyond story-wise moved beyond feeling like they belong to one gender or another. So Testament's completely non-binary and stuff like that, and so it's like Guilty Gear's like is pretty much the West Hollywood parade of fighting games now. So which is pretty awesome.
The West Hollywood of fighting games. Amazing.
Which is what's really cool about it though is that like they just kind of just do it, and I think the most impressive thing is like they don't make too big a deal about it kind of thing. Or they don't try to tiptoe around it or like, well, I don't know if it is or it isn't.
The creator of the game is doing it. Right?
He's doing everything, right? So he's just like, no, this is it.
I think
this is the story, and we're just gonna go with it. We're not even really gonna dance around it at all. We're just gonna this is what it is, and I appreciate that. And I think people latch onto that too, where it's like,
I mean, I can't. Far be it for me to make excuses for assholes, but I do think a lot of the frustration comes in when like it's not the creators making those decisions. It's like it's the company suddenly makes the decision that this longtime character is going to be this, or is going to come out or going to.
Well, it's genuine, and I think that's what people like about Guilty Gear. Is that like it's in all ways Guilty Gear is genuine. Like it's genuine passion project from a the very small team original. The first one was like however like 10 people or whatever made it or
the
less.
Original creator of the game said so. I don't think anybody's gonna be like
he's still like he's still drawing art, concept art, he's still designing characters, he's still writing the lore, he's still directing
in his
the
50s, right?
Yeah, and he's still directing the game, he's still making all the decisions, all these decisions. He's still writing the music, he's still singing the music, he's still playing the electric guitar in there. So it's like this is not some like hey, it's not June where the corporation decided we're gonna throw a bone here or whatever kind of thing. It's like, no, this is what the creator wants to do. This is his decision. So now people don't like Strive for gameplay reasons. I can understand because it is a slower, less mechanically dense game than Exart. I totally get that. But you got to appreciate the fact that the man is his
metal.
own sort of it's just like, you know what, like this will come up later in our podcast, but it's a Cinderella story.
Yeah.
For how Daisuke and Guilty Gear and Arxis as a whole kind of has found a way to be. And I was thinking about that. I was sitting there looking. They had a whole booth dedicated to them, at Evo, and I remember just thinking. And I sat there and looked. I'm like, it's kind of incredible that Arc System was able to come this far, because like no one knew about the first Guilty Gear. It was a Atlas released in America. It was released by Atlas.
Wow.
They made probably 5 fucking copies in North America for the first game. It was so fucking unknown. And it only started to turn a little bit of heads when the Dreamcast version of X came out, and it was like really good looking. Like the sprites were way higher res than Capcom was doing. So that's when people started to turn their heads a bit, and then just kept growing from there. Seeing all that happen was just kind of like, what else Guilty Gear was? People don't know. Guilty Gear was one of the first fighting games to go online on Xbox.
Really?
The original Xbox.
I think that's where I originally saw Guilty Gear, is at one of Rodney's game nights.
Mm-hmm. It was one of the Xbox. I don't know. I don't think it was the first, but it was one of the first fighting games to officially have an online mode.
Cool.
On the original Xbox. So Guilty Gear, breaking barriers, been doing it for decades.
So EVO 2022, thumbs up, thumbs down. It's good stuff, good times, seeing all the...
I was great running into people. I had really nice running into a Chaoser.
Oh, hell yeah.
Since we've basically, since leaving Japan, it's kind of like, black hole of contact with other people. So that was really nice. Really appreciated the insistence on safety at EVO. I think that was extremely good. TwitchCon, what the fuck?
They're gonna change that, right? They're gonna change that. Well, there's no fucking way with it.
I hope so. But yeah, I really appreciated that. I felt it was run well. I felt it was done. It was handled good.
Hell yeah. Maybe next year it'll be even bigger.
I'm really hoping that, we can meet under better circumstances next year, because the circumstances I'm talking about have nothing to do with EVO. It's just the fact that this shit's still going around.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
It's still a risk, and I would like to be able to just walk into EVO without that risk. I'd like to be able to walk into anywhere without a risk, because walking into anywhere other human beings can walk right now is technically a risk. It still is. So,
well, here's hoping that it continues to be positive next year. I mean, it sounds like the Sony buying them thing is an overall positive change.
I do still wish they had Dealers Hall open Sunday, and the dealers wish it too. Actually, the artists certainly do. I know the artists are very much like, we're really losing out on sales by losing a whole fucking day of the convention, not being able to sell anything. And people, the consumers want it. The consumers have voiced their opinion. We're like, we wish we could go back in there and buy something, or whatever. So, because you're either, there are some people who are winning big money, Friday night, Saturday. You win. What if you win big on Saturday night, and then you're like, shit, I wish I could. I'm gonna run back to that booth and buy that cool art print. Oh no, I can't.
I'm gonna blow it all on titty art. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, that's what's happening.
There was definitely plenty of that, because it's EVO. You could definitely see where the artists are kind of putting their EVO prints. All fighting game characters, whole lot of boobly bikins.
Yeah,
and Chun-Li's thick ass thighs, just kind of
slutty juries.
Slutty juries, just kind of we're selling them.
You think you're not going to go in there and buy a $200 fucking poster size print? Yes, you are.
There was someone selling body pillows for all the hot anime boys of fighting games, so that was actually kind of, hey.
Yeah, I bought 6, 7, 8, 9, and I have Steve's sexy body pillow too. That's all I don't actually even own a bed. It's just body pillows of sexy anime boys.
I don't need a bed. My bed is just a bunch of body pillows just laid out.
They're like hard a raft. Abs.
It's like a raft of abs.
On that note, we have patrons to thank. If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week was Aizawa. That's a pretty cool episode to be due to the week for. And our producers for this episode are Scrunami, Kuroi35, HyperViper89, Ziggy Z, and Online Persona. Thank you, dudes, and we will catch you next time.
Later, dudes.